Hello friends, welcome back to my channel and to the Fort Worth Fabric Studio American Made Week 1 sew along. So today we're going to cut a whole bunch of fabric. And then May 22nd and May 29th we're going to be sewing up some blocks, and June 5th we're going to put it all together to make this fabulous table runner. Now if some of you are sewing from your stash, today you can collect the download for the cutting and the pattern or the fabric requirements. Sorry, I can't talk today apparently. And I will link that right down below. And for those of you who are in another country who are doing the same thing, if your country colors are not red, white, and blue like Canada, I've had a peek at the final product, and I think this would look really pretty. So like Canadians, anywhere there's blue, you can replace it with red. So I hope you'll join me for this sew along because it's going to be a quick, fun little thing, and I can't wait to get started. So without further ado, let's get cutting. The first fabric you're going to want to cut is the Anthem Fans Dark Blue, which are these sort of Art Deco looking fans. They're really pretty. You're going to cut 2 5.5-inch squares and 4 3-inch squares. There's several pieces along the way that have the same measurements, so it was really nice. It made it go really quickly, and if you find one of the other fabrics, you can actually stack them up and cut them at the same time to make the cutting go a little bit quicker. So that's another way. Those are further down in. I'll show you which ones those are. So that's the first one. The second one is the Anthem Specs White and Blue, which is this really pretty blender, this white with this little blue speck, and that needed 2 8-inch squares and 8 5-inch squares. So I've got all those right here. So that was the Anthem Specs. Okay, add that to the pile. The next fabric you're going to need to cut is the Anthem Line Dot Medium Blue. And here's one of those where you could have stacked it up with this one because you have the same cuts. You have 2 5-inch squares and 4 3-inch squares. So just like that. And there's several more of these along the way. So if you're somebody like me that wants to get the cutting done, you could stack all those up on top of each other. As you can see there, they all fit on top of each other. Okay, so the next one is the Anthem Mini Red Floral. And this one, you need 28 3-inch squares. And mine are kind of a mess right here. I should have stacked them better. But a whole pile of 3-inch squares. So make sure you cut this with the fabric. Cut 2 strips 3 inches long, and you'll be able to get 14 out of each strip to make 28. Okay, so the next one after that is the Eclipse Solid Red. It's just a solid red color, and this one you need 7 8-inch squares. And I wasn't really paying a lot of attention, to be honest with you. I just started cutting squares and then I went back and counted and realized I had cut 8. So there's definitely plenty of fabric of this one, because if I got 8, you can definitely get 7. So that's that one. So I have 1 extra there, so that would have been scrap. The next one is the Anthem's Arrow White, and this one is really pretty. I really like this one. I haven't seen any fabric like this. So this one you needed also 7 8.5-inch squares, just like the red, or 8-inch squares, I'm sorry, not 8.5, 8-inch squares. And then you needed 28 of the 3-inch squares, which is the same as this red. So I'm gonna put these, I gotta straighten them up. I made a mess of my fabric. Put these with here and then put the squares underneath here. Okay, now the next one, this is my daughter's favorite. She was looking through the fabric. You only need to cut 2 8-inch squares. So this one takes very little time. This is beautiful. This one looks like a firework, I think. Okay, so that's that one. And then the next one is the Mini Floral in Medium Blue. And I have 2 blues left here. And I wasn't sure which one was the Medium Floral, but it's this one right here. And the good news about that is, if you're not sure, these have the exact same cuts as like the ones at the beginning that I said had all the same things, the 2 5-inch squares and the 4 3.5-inch squares. So again, you could stack these two colors together and cut them at the same time, really, to save a little bit of time if you don't mind stacking them on top of each other. You fix those guys, they're messy. Okay, so that's those, and actually I'm going to put those underneath these guys here. Okay, and then the only thing you have left is your binding strips, and you need to cut 4 of those out of your red floral petals. This fabric is gorgeous. I love this red. This is so pretty. So I typically do, it says 2.5 by width of fabric strips, but I typically do a 2 1/4 inch binding. So that's what I did with these. I did my 2 by 1/4 inch binding. Then, okay. So what I wanted to show you guys, this is what I had left from everything. I had just a little sliver of this, and then all these pieces are what I had left. So I didn't have much. I did best press all my fabric ahead of time, so I think you have room to best press or starch. But what I want to say, I have red is what I have the most of. I have none of this left. But I want to say, if you do best press or starch, or even if you don't, be very careful in cutting, because some of these had more left than others. You could probably get some other square out of this if you needed to, or some of these pieces. But there's like this one, that's all I have left. And that one was 8.5 inch square, so you wouldn't be able to get another one out of that. And like this piece, that's all I have left. So just be really, really careful when you cut, because there's not a whole lot left. And like I said, there's a few colors I really had nothing left besides teeny tiny little scraps by the time I did my first cut and straightened out the fabric. So I just wanted to show you guys that, so you knew to really, really be careful. Like this binding, there was nothing left except a little bitty sliver, so nothing to even really show you. Okay, so that's all the cutting for this week. If you haven't grabbed the cutting instructions and the fabric requirements, go ahead and click that link down in the description box below. And also down in the description box below is the Facebook group for Fort Worth Fabric Studio. Go ahead and join that if you haven't yet. I know most of you have, but if you haven't yet, go ahead and join that. It is a private group, so you'll have to answer a couple questions and wait to be approved. But if you join that, you'll be able to see everybody's progress on this project. You'll get to see the colors that people picked if they didn't get the kit, and the people who got the kit. They like to show their progress, and it helps us all kind of feel like we're all sewing together. So go ahead and join that as well. And then meet me back here next Monday to sew the blocks for week 2. All right, guys, it was good to see you today, and I will see you again really soon. Take care. Bye.